employed for that building?
Yes, there is. There are three, I believe it's 3 parking spaces, and that was something left over from when the police department was there. And we have kind of maintained it in order to provide a spot for the ladies that operate the thrift shop for us. They do it all as a volunteer thing, and I don't think what we're spending on it is exorbitant.
John, do you have any other specific questions on the budget for this year?
I do, but let someone else take
No,
it.
no. Let's end. What are your other specific questions for this year's budget?
Are there monies built into this budget to maintain both a new library building and an old library building?
Yes, we have a library building that is currently being used by the library, and the budget is going to start in to maintain the operations of that building until the new building is completed and they're moved into it. And yes, there's money built into the budget to operate the new library building after it's completed this year. As far as what we're going to do after that, we've begun the process of talking about it, and there haven't been any decisions made yet.
Okay, John, you have another specific question?
Not at this time.
Thank you. Scott?
Spec Powers, Route 11, Otter Pond, speaking for the Budget Advisory Committee. And if I may, I'd like to make a comment on top of Chairman Gallup's comment. For those who have looked a little farther ahead into the tax rate next year, you see a 28-cent tax increase. And I just want to explain that none of us should have been too surprised by this increase, because 18 cents of that 28 cents is not due to decisions made this year, it's due to decisions made last year. Last year we voted to increase highway paving by $100,000, to increase fire volunteers remuneration by $60,000, and as you heard Chairman Gallup mention, we have $40,000 of debt increase this year. Those monies add up to 18 cents, and if we did nothing else this year, we would have seen an 18-cent tax increase. I don't know if we clearly explained last year what the future effect was going to be on the decisions we made then. So as we go through this warrant, I will have some brief comments on the effect of warrants in next year's budget, not just this year's budget. And one thing I will mention, which I don't know whether Fred touched on it or not, but next year, if nothing else has changed, we're going to see a 5-cent increase for more debt paying for Perkins Pond and the library. So as we get, as I said, when we get into other warrants, I want everybody to be aware of the effect on next year's budget in addition to this year's budget, so nobody is surprised and comes complaining next year about the increases.
Well, I must say that, I'm not sure what you have in mind, but we have you for this year's budget, not next year's budget. So I would rule those kinds of issues out of order.
When we get to them,
When we get to them, you can speak to this year's budget, but with respect to forecasting, that would be inappropriate. The reason for that is it will come up again next year for the taxpayers. Taxpayers are here for this year's budget. Are there any other questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote on Article 17. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Article 18. Are you in favor of the town raising and appropriating the sum of $109,900 $70,000 to be added to the fire apparatus capital reserve fund as established by Article 33 of the 1984 town meeting. Is there a motion? Moved by John, seconded by Shane. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor of Article 18 signify by saying aye. Opposed? Thank you very much. Article 19, are you in favor of the town raising and appropriating the sum of $270,000 to purchase and equip a tanker truck for the fire department, authorizing the withdrawal of up to $270,000 from the fire apparatus capital reserve fund as established by Article 33 of the 1984 town meeting, authorizing the sale or trade-in of an existing tanker truck, and authorizing the use of said trade-in or sale to reduce the amount withdrawn from said fund. Is there a motion? Moved by Stein, seconded by Representative Bradley. Is there a discussion?
Just want to introduce you.
This is one of the articles that we really hadn't planned on. This is an issue that's come up with the tanker, and I'll let Danny fill you in on it and so on. So it's unfortunate that we've got to address this at this time, but unfortunately we do.
Basically, this August, we had a company comes in to do our service work on our trucks. And when they were doing service work, they found that we had two crack frame rails on our tanker. So we looked at, it was coming up to be replaced next year in 2015. So we had to move it up to this year. We looked at, people said, well, maybe we should fix it. Maybe that the truck will be 30 years old. It's a 1985 Mack. It'll be 30 years old next year. And we bought it used back in 90 and put a tank on it, glass built it for us. This has served us well. We looked into repairing it, to put new frame rails from one end to the other. We're looking between $35,000 and $50,000. Then we went to, there's a place in Claremont, Ron Quick Shop. He came over and looked at it. He can patch what we have. And he said, well, he can do the 2 frame rails for $15,000, but that doesn't include cross members, the frog legs, which the axles are hooked to, are bad, the valves, the wiring, the hoses, and that's all extra. So it's going to be probably between $20,000 to $25,000 to $30,000 to do it that way. So basically, we figured the best way, and the truck's only worth $10,000. So it's bad. It's worse to put more money in something that's over $10,000 more than what it's worth. That's one reason why we went to go for a new truck this year in the cost factor. The other issue is in March, end of March, it goes out of service, so we will not have a tanker in town. We will have to call mutual aid. Since we found the problem with the truck in August, the truck hasn't been out of town. We keep it all in town, we just do go in town. We can't get inspected because the frame rails are broke. So that's why we just kept it in town. We don't have a lot of fire calls in town. We have one or two truck fires, and that's all it goes for. So that's the reason why we have to do it this year. We're looking at it. It's best bet for the dollar to buy a new one. It's because all the new standards. The Mack truck is a standard 2-stick older Mack, and we only have about, I would say, between 6 to 8 people that can drive it out. We have about 35 people. The new truck will be all automatic, and all the trucks we have, all the new trucks we have are all automatics, which makes it easy for the driver, easy to control. It has all the new trucks have all the anti-lock brakes, the stabilization. mobile water meter, which our truck will call it, which tells us what we have to have on the truck to be up to the standard that we get. And we kind of have to follow a guide like the NFPA, because when God, anything happens with the truck or people driving or whatever, the lawyers and all that will go back to that standard and say, well, you didn't meet the standard. And that's what it follows. Does anybody have any questions? Yes?
Hi, it's Gidget again. So just a couple questions on that. Is it still trade-inable even though it's broken?
The U-boat has been fixed.
Okay.
The U-boat is the problem, it's the frame rails that go, that whole structure that is broken.
Right. And you can still trade it in knowing that, I mean, people will still take it knowing that it's
Basically,
not usable, really?
basically, it has a double frame in it. And the outside frame and the bottom rail is cracked. It still is right enough to do what we want to do with it, but we can't get inspected because of the law. The law says you can't have a cracked frame.
Okay, and this, dollar amount, it's for a new truck?
A new truck and a new tank, yes.
Is it not, something that you can purchase used?
You can, but you're gonna pay, for a big used truck, you're gonna pay almost as much as a new.
And,
There's very few used tankers out there. And basically, when a tanker, you're gonna have between 100 to 120,000 miles on it. And you're gonna be like 2 or 3 years old, and you're gonna pay within probably $50,000 of it.
okay, and how many miles are on this truck right now?
On the truck we have now,
Yeah,
it's got about 260 to 80,000.
so, and that's over 30 years, did we buy it new?
No, we did not, we bought it used.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Any other questions from the chief? Hearing none. All in favor of Article 19 signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I should say, Scott and John, any comments I have made to you are not in any way attempting to deny your right to speak against the budget. I hope you both understand that. Article 20. See if the town will vote to authorize the select board to enter into a 10-year lease purchase agreement for $291,000 for the purpose of leasing a grade for the highway department and to raise and appropriate through taxation $35,500 for the first year's payment for that purpose. The existing 1991 Caterpillar grader will be traded towards the lease purchase of this vehicle. The second through 10th year payments will be contained in an operating budgets of those subsequent years. This lease agreement contains a fiscal funding escape clause. Does anyone want to explain what that is? A fiscal funding expense clause? Pardon? Is there any motion? Moved by President Gottlieb, seconded by Chairman Gallo. Discussion.
The fiscal funding escape clause basically boils down to if the budget isn't passed next year, we have to give the grade back. And it's a bit of a security blanket for the town and the board to get out of the agreement with them in case of a fiscal change as far as the budgets are concerned. I'll let our highway director, Scott Hazelton, speak to the specifics of the machine. This is varying somewhat from our capital reserve programs. This machine was intended to have been replaced a couple of years ago, and in conversations with Tony and so on and so forth, the board felt that we could get by for a little while more with the machine. It has deteriorated some over the last couple of years and is in need of a bunch of maintenance work. At this point in time, it has quite a number of leaks and things of this nature that add up to a pretty big amount of money to get dried up. So this wasn't our fondest desire as a way to deal with this, but we felt that the grader is an important enough piece of equipment in the highway maintenance program that it would be necessary to address it in this manner, as it being the one that had the smallest impact on the tax rate. And at the end of the 10 years, we can buy the machine out for $1. And I certainly hope that there's a goodly number of years left in it after the 10 years, which there shouldn't be any problem with. I'm disappointed in the machine that we have now as a piece of Caterpillar equipment. I don't feel that it's held up the way it probably should have. We'll have to see how a replacement machine does. So I'll let Scott give you a little bit more on it. Any questions?
Thank you. My name is Scott Hazelton. I'm the highway director. I acquired the Caterpillar grader when I took over in April. This is a 1991 Caterpillar. And there are some significant leaks on it. I had Caterpillar come and do an assessment of the condition of the vehicle, and to just fix the leaks, they gave us an estimate of approximately $20,000 to just repair the leaks on the vehicle. We've also have had the vehicle appraised by some different manufacturers who want to provide us with a new grader, and the values that we got on the trade-in for that piece of equipment is $20,000. So to fix the leaks is going to be $20,000, and that doesn't address an engine that has over 16,000 hours on it, or any of the major components that we use to grade the roads with that grader, which would add up to almost 4 times the value of that vehicle currently. We did test drive 4 different graders in the late fall. I'm sure you may have seen those around town. We've chosen a grader that is going to best suit the town and the needs of the town and the types of roads that we have, and the plan moving forward that I have to improve our gravel roads. That's really basically it relative to the existing grader, and take any questions for everybody.
Karen Goslin on New Province Road. My only question is, why are we, can I have an explanation as to why we're leasing and not purchasing outright?
It was the decision of the board to enter into a lease purchase agreement for 10 years with the intent of decreasing the impact of the tax burden on the taxpayer relative, instead of purchasing it outright for $291,000.
Can you tell me how much interest we're paying on this lease over the 10 years?
I don't have that information.
The interest will be approximately $70,000. And as I've told you, some of the decisions we've had to make here haven't been the most pleasurable ones we've had to make. And we looked at it in the light of what the tax impact would be. And I don't disagree with you. I hate to see us paying interest. But we felt as a board that this was the most responsible way to maintain our taxes as best we can, as well as continue to provide the services and the equipment that are necessary to take care of it.
Thank you, but we're also, if I look ahead, we're going to be paying interest on a couple of other trucks in here as well.
Yes, another truck. Unfortunately, we are.
So if we add all this interest up, we could probably buy another new truck. That's I'm not against the purchase of the grader. I'm very concerned about lease purchasing for the town of Sunapee, that's all.
Absolutely, and I don't disagree with you. And like I said, we definitely are not going to give up on our capital reserve programs, because that does get us away from interest and things of that nature. Under this particular situation, where we had the grader as well as the truck that needed to be replaced this year, you'll also notice that this year we didn't make a contribution to the Highway Capital Reserve Fund, and that was also a decision to help to keep our tax burden for this year in check as best we could. And we have done a bunch of work on the replacement schedules and things of this nature for our equipment. And as time goes on, next year we'll resume putting money back into that capital reserve fund. And there will be an adjustment. I forgot whether it's 3 years or 5 years from now, that we will have to increase the amount that we put in order to continue with the replacement schedule that we have. And one of the things that everyone should know is that these replacement schedules are a kind of a living thing. In other words, as time goes on, as we did with the grader, we didn't have as much money in there as we had hoped to have because of the prices of things going up and things of this nature. So we ended up having to put some things off in order to keep things on even keel. And I suppose we as myself and the boards that I have worked with have created this problem, and it's going to end up costing us some money. But hopefully what we've come up with will be as minimal an impact on our tax rate as we can come up with.
Thank you, Frank.
Other questions? Spec, you have something? Same subject or a different subject?
It's on this warrant article, pretty much the same subject. Again, I'm speaking for the BAC, and we are in favor of this article, and follow on to the previous question. The department heads, the town manager, the select board, the BAC, did a lot of work on this budget, more than I can remember in previous ones, in terms of trying to find alternatives to keep the tax rate down, as you just heard Chairman Gallup mention. If we had gone the traditional route of putting money into the capital reserve fund, taxes this year would have gone up an additional 20 cents. And at the selectmen's meeting, the budget meetings, we all pretty much agreed it was better not to raise taxes by 20 cents in 1 year, and instead, under the lease purchase, we're paying 3 cents more this year and following years. And compared to the alternatives that we discussed, I think all of us thought this was the best way to do it. Thank you.
Any other questions on this article? Yes, sir.
How do we have 270 Nutty Road? I have a question, usually with a lease purchase.
Can you come closer to the mic, please?
I have a question, usually with a lease purchase, yes, you have some sort of a maintenance agreement? Is there any sort of maintenance agreement, and who maintains this piece of equipment once it's purchased or leased?
The different manufacturers that we've been speaking to do offer maintenance agreements, and they range anywhere from a 3, 4 to a 7 year. The 3 and 4 year are the standard right now with the lease purchase. 7 year you have to purchase for an additional sum.
Has that been taken into account?
Yes.
I mean, we're looking at paying this good sum of money for this piece of equipment. If it's not maintained, it's useless. And to me, having a professional maintained would make it a little easier on my mind. The other option I was wondering, has anybody looked at equipment auctions? I mean, you can buy brand new machines that are bought to build casinos, high-rises, highways, brand new equipment. Most of them sit there, and after that job's done, they auction them off. It's included like in your bids. Has anybody looked at this option where you get a 1 year machine, maybe buy it outright for $200,000, then get a good maintenance contract with it, so it'll last?
I have not looked at that option because you don't, and the purpose, the reason behind it is because you don't know when those auctions are going to come up. And you have to have a set amount for the warrant in order to go purchase that piece of equipment. And yes, the maintenance agreement is included in that price. There are, and whoever who purchased that piece of equipment from will maintain it for those 4 years. We'll do the routine maintenance. They'll come out to our shop. It's all part of the cost.
So if hydraulics fail or something like that, that would be part of their responsibility?
It's whatever they include in the maintenance agreement, yes.
Well, I guess that would have been my question. What's included in the maintenance agreement?
I can't answer that. I'm going to tell you, it's all the major steering drive engine, low board, drive components, and I'm quite sure that includes hydraulics, major hydraulic components.
Thank you.
John, you have a question on this article?
I do, John Olson. The town maintains its own electric production facility and earns money from that production, and that money sits in a fund, and currently there's a very large surplus in that fund. So my question is, why didn't we use this excess money in that fund to purchase this and therefore have no impact on the taxes and pay no interest going forward?
It sounds irrelevant to me. What's it got to do with Article 20?
Because that would pay for this piece of equipment. We have hundreds of thousands of dollars excess in the hydro fund. That money could be used to purchase this piece of equipment. That was not the decision that was made. The question is, why was the decision made to go lease purchase rather than use the very large surplus for this purchase?